Now the question is, how do these higher education institutions and other non-profit bodies pick up enough mentoring skills, mentoring competencies? Who is there to mentor them to set up accreditation agencies or cells to bring institutions under the umbrella of accreditation?
A professor, with the kind of scale that we talk about in this, in terms of number of AIs and then people involved therein, obviously scale would be a huge challenge for us to have so many people. But the good news is we have so many intellectuals who are rather by so-called chronological order they are retired, but we have champions like you who have been in the system and very active. So all the idle capacity right now can be leveraged upon. They should be invited on board again to be like individual mentors at institution level and also as a part of AI. Now look at the way the new policy suggests setting up of identification of AIs is NAC would set up AIs or recognize AIs based on certain parameters. There is a framework given, then also how to evaluate, what kind of things to be expected, and so on and so forth. That means the entire procedural stuff NAC is supposed to give to AIs, and your non-profit organizations who are essentially driven by senior people like you and other professors who are there with us on the panel, who can actually initiate to give it back to the society and do these kind of works, can be identified as AIs. And another interesting thing is those higher education institutions which are in category A or already at a level where they are well experienced with the entire accreditation process, they can also become an AI. Now, AI can play two roles there. One is that of accrediting agency, where they actually take a job of a professional scrutinizer, and two, as a hand-holding agency like a mentor. It's fine. Now, the differentiation is the one who is a mentor cannot be your SSR. So that will be randomized, as a more of an operational issue. But in terms of the structure which is suggested, AIs we will need in big numbers, while the framework will be given to them. Getting the scale and numbers, we have to harp upon the expertise of senior people, senior administrators, and senior accomplished academicians to join in, chip in, and kind of lead the change. That's my view. It's more of an operational issue than structural.
Guidelines that have to be framed must be such that they do not give any scope for misuse or say interpretation in different ways, and therefore it is being done in a wrong way and so on. So as we have a large number of experienced people, so the mentoring job can be given to them. In fact, many of some of the institutions say because of lack of experienced people or some manpower or process at a senior level, the educational institutions, some of them are not moving in the right direction or they lack the guidance. So that vacuum can be filled by these mentoring agencies, private or otherwise, or other existing institutions. Because there is no depth for manpower, or senior people are also available. So, but a framework has to be made or guidelines must be created so that there is no scope for interpreting it in a different way or in a loose way. So without losing the quality or the standards, we can have a framework, mentoring process can be carried out.
As ma'am was mentioning, the capabilities of different faculty members are different. Some are more research oriented, some are more student centric, and some are more institution building types. And this is found out as one goes along on the journey. Now, if this is understood well, then the dimensions of the assessment and accreditation which affect that individual as a faculty member, I'm talking at individual level now, is framed around what I am strong at. I mean, if the institution designs it that way. And then it becomes a mirror. It's an MIS to me as to how I do. If I'm a student-centric faculty member, and I go more into teaching and learning and look at placements and see whether whatever I'm doing is aligned to that, then this MIS is useful to me to deliver on my objectives. So this the system which runs in the institution is going to be critical. So if you design a system where what I am doing is useful to me and what I report is useful to me, then I would adopt it much better. So this is one dimension of it. The second dimension of it, from the point of the question of mentorship, is I think mentors are required at individual faculty member for research. So those who have more inclination of that, and I think there are quite a many in the country, would be able to mentor for that dimension. The same person may not be able to equally mentor for the teaching learning process. And when it comes to the institutional leadership and governance process, again the issues involved are different, and you need a different set of mentors. So I think this exists in the system with such a large number of institutions and quite a number of institutions who have got high grades and capacities. It's a question of identifying and organizing it in order to build it up. So this is a second dimension. Third dimension which I wanted to share is that today about 70% of whatever is going on assessment is quantitative and about 30% is qualitative. Now if 70% is quantitative, there is some day in which AI is going to come into that. So there will be a certain level of accreditation process as we go along, because there is a lot of numerics in it. And numerics with a contextual understanding, AI may be able to do, a clerk may not be able to do. A faculty may be able to do, provided they have understood it. So different institutions which make submissions, the same figures mean different things in different contexts. So I also see that going along at a certain end where it is data analysis, there will be an AI element also to it. So therefore, individuals will be more involved in respect to mentoring, upgrading, facilitating systems as we go along. These are the points I'd like to.
We do not have the habit of documenting what we did for whatever reasons. And once we get into that habit of, okay, suppose today I gave a guest lecture somewhere, or today I wrote an article, if it immediately goes to the admin over there and you have a dedicated person looking into it, what's the big deal of maintaining the records? So it's just that we are not very particular about it. And once we get into that group, it's not that big an issue. Complaining, we all will complain, because we all have a tendency to say, I'm loaded with work, koi kuch nahi karta. That's a common thing, so, right? So faculty complaining about it, I don't think we need to bother so much about it. We'll continue to do all our lives.